Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Q&A with Dr. K. If you observe there's something different about the format today, indeed. Usually my lovely assistant Annie is the one asking the Q's and I'm supplying the A's. But today I am honored to have a couple of wonderful special guests on the Q&A today. So I'm going to be asking the Q's. And the A's are going to be supplied by two remarkable people. Bob and Fran German are my guests today, and they've got a lot to share with us. As you will soon find out, when we talk about the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet and a sane, loving lifestyle that goes along with it, there's all sorts of wonderful health benefits, normal blood pressure, cholesterols, etc. But of course, overarching all of this is the hope and the expectation that we live long, healthy lives. Well, Bob and Fran know quite a bit about living long, healthy lives. They are in their 80s. And this is about healthy aging done right through the plant-based lens here. And so in this next little while, I'm going to let them tell their remarkable story and then share with you the best pearls they have for living a long, healthy life. And it's more than just living, it's thriving and it's being happy. I mean, what else are we here for except to be happy? And of course, happiness is one of the major things that helps you live a long life. So Bob and Fran are going to cover all that with us. They have a wonderful website that we'll be sharing with you. And they have written a book, 101 Ways to Be Young at Any Age. Boy, that title says it all, doesn't it? And we'll tell you about where you can get their wonderful book. But more importantly, we get to bathe in their energy and be in the presence of people who know what they're talking about when it comes to living long, healthy lives. So with that introduction, I want to give a very warm Q&A with Dr. K. Welcome to Bob and Fran German. Welcome to our program here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. K. We appreciate your inviting us, and it's our honor to be here with you and with your audience.
Well, of course, I'm a physician and I have a medical viewing of people's adventures, and these two folks certainly have won their spurs of legitimacy when it comes to medical travails. They each have overcome some serious medical issues, which we'll explore now. And of course, they use a plant-based diet and loving lifestyle to help them achieve this health victories. So I'll let you decide who goes first, but do tell us about your, Fran. Yes, you had quite.
She got her hand up faster than me.
Okay, we'll call on the lovely lady first. But seriously, there are some diseases, some diagnoses in medicine, when you see them on the chart, it makes the doctor fight down the impulse to run the other way because we don't have that much to offer these people. And one of those diagnoses is myasthenia gravis. This is a powerful disease of the nervous and muscular system. And very few people overcome it, but you are looking at a lovely woman who's done that. So Fran, tell me how the diagnosis of myasthenia gravis entered your life, how did it affect you, and most importantly, what did you do to overcome it?
Okay, I'll be happy to. In the fall of 1992, I woke up one morning. We were living in South Florida, west of Fort Lauderdale. And I woke up one morning and I couldn't open one eye. So we went to our doctor. He took one look at me and he said, "I think you have Bell's palsy." And for some strange reason, I said to him, "No, I think it's myasthenia gravis." Now, don't ask me where I got this idea. It just came from somewhere.
And I had never heard of it at all.
I mean, most people haven't even heard of it.
Yeah.
At any rate, he sent me across the street to the neurologist. The neurologist gave me what's called a tinselin test. My eye popped open and he said, "It is myasthenia gravis." And he put me on prednisone and he put me on Mestinon. And I was taking Mestinon every 4 hours around the clock. I haven't slept through the night since then. And I had some really bad times. I was so weak and so sick, I couldn't work anymore. I couldn't drive. I had such terrible double vision like this. They couldn't even put a prism in my glasses because it was so severe that I had to wear plastic prisms that made me look like I was looking through blinds. It was really, myasthenia gravis is a Greek expression meaning severe muscle weakness, and it couldn't be more aptly named. There were times when I could barely walk. I couldn't pick my head up off a pillow. I could hardly speak. I could hardly eat. For 14 years, I went from doctor to doctor. All I got was not much hope. In other words, I would never get better. My lifespan would be shortened. I'd be on medication for the rest of my life, and it was incurable. Okay. So it wasn't very hopeful, but I kept looking for answers. Now, for 14 years, I did everything I could to be as healthy as I could. I didn't want any more than one disease, and I did my best to stay away from other diseases. But in the first, I think, 12 years living in South Florida with this, I never met another myasthenic. Then in the summer of 2004, we came to North Carolina for the summers because myasthenia gravis makes you very weak, and the heat in South Florida in the summertime really was bad for me. The first week we were in North Carolina, the small town in North Carolina, just south of Asheville, Bob noticed in the newspaper that there was a myasthenia gravis support group in our local hospital.
Mind you that we live in Broward County.
Yeah,
in
the
South
three-county
Florida.
area where there were millions of people.
Right, and we never met another person with myasthenia gravis. We come to a town of 10,000 people and there's a support group.
And I went to the meetings every month, didn't learn a whole lot. Noticed that people were quite sick, I mean, really sick. And they all seemed to have more than one disease, which was interesting. Of course, when the body breaks down, it's not hard for other diseases to manifest. At any rate, they served wonderful snacks like chips, cookies, soda drink, all kinds of junk food. But nothing in all these 14 years was ever mentioned to me about diet. Then, there's an expression, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. 1 month, they brought a nutritionist from Asheville to come and speak to our group. And with a slide presentation, he showed how even something as innocuous as white meat chicken compromises the immune system. And he recommended eliminating all animal products. He recommended reading The China Study by T. Colin Campbell and Diet for a New America by John Robbins. I want you to know that in this group of people, I was the only one who took it to heart, read both books, and changed my diet. Now, a year or so later, my friends in this group had all died, but not from myasthenia. They died from heart disease. They died from cancer, from diabetes. But I switched my diet, and the only problem was every time I tried to get off the prednisone, I felt sicker. So on a visit to California to visit my son, he took me to his doctor in near San Diego, who was the first plant-based doctor in Southern California. And he explained that my adrenals were shut down from all the prednisone. And he built up my adrenals first, and then he took me down off the prednisone very, very slowly. So within a matter of months, I was off all medication, symptom-free, and now it's 15 years later, and this incurable disease hasn't reared its ugly head again. So,
but I think at that point, I think the key for us is that Fran was given no hope. We went to 11 different neurologists around the country, and we have something that we call the nocebo. So you all must know what the placebo is, the sugar pill. Well, the nocebo is when you go to a doctor. Gee, I'm with a doctor right here.
But let me tell you what the first doctor that my family physician said to me when he saw me at the beginning. It's incurable. You'll be on medication the rest of your life. You will not live as long, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a nocebo when the doctor gives you no hope.
No hope.
Yeah.
Yes, we call it, it's a medical hex. You put a medical
Yeah.
hex on people.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, we, Fran, it was a tenacious person, and she did everything she could to keep her body healthy, to ward off any other diseases. And the key was when we switched, when we stopped eating meat, we stopped eating
All animal
cheese
products.
and all that stuff, and we went totally plant-based. Now,
Now, I want you to know that, 15 years ago, it wasn't as easy as it is now. Now, there's a plethora of recipes on the internet and so many different cooking shows. There's just no way that anybody could say, I can't do it. It's all out there for you.
yeah,
Mhm.
And then just about the time that I was getting better, Bob developed a problem.
so I'll tell you my story. It's not as dramatic, I think, as Fran's, but I always was thin. I always kept myself in pretty good shape. And I found myself learning to race walk. So it's a sport even in the Olympics. And I was working out with a group of young women. Wait, that's not a good thing to say here. I was training with them. They taught me how to race walk. It's a specific technique. And I would walk 8 or 10 miles, and I got faster and faster. And these were Olympic hopefuls. They were trying out for the Olympic team. So it was hard for me to even come close to their speed, but I did get fast. It was a really good exercise program for me. And I remember walking fast on that same path over and over and over. And I decided to switch to a different trail, so to speak, a different surface. And again, I was doing quite a bit of this race walking, and I developed a pain in my groin. Well, nobody wants a pain in the groin, but it was a bit concerning. So I went to a local urologist, and he examined me and he said, I really can't find anything down there. He said, but I know that you're really not a complainer, and I want to do the right thing. So he said, let's do a CAT scan just to be sure. Well, I thought that was pretty intense. I'm not too great on having these kind of tests, but I did agree to it because it was a bit concerning. And a few days later, he called me back in with the results, and he said, I can't find anything wrong in the groin area. I think you just pulled a muscle down there, but take a look at this. And he showed me the film on a
View box.
picture,
Right, yeah.
a light in his office. And he said, you see that? That's a growth on the outside of your left kidney. And he said, yeah, it doesn't look good to me, and I think you need it to be removed. And he said, I don't think I'm really qualified. I think you have to go to a specialist. So I wound up going to the Duke University Medical Center, which is a very prestigious and well-known place. And I did find a specialist, one of only two people at that time that did this kind of surgery. And it's called a cryoablation surgery, where they actually froze off this tumor, and then it sort of dissipated. And I had to really sweat out a week or so before I got the results. I went back for the results, and he said, I took 3 biopsies, and one of them did come back malignant. You have renal cell carcinoma. And I remember I was, I guess, shocked because I've never really been that sick before. And I had him repeat it 3 times. And finally, I came to realize I have kidney cancer. I am a slow learner. I had kidney cancer at that time. So that hospital was about a 4-hour drive from our home in Western North Carolina. And on the way home, He also, by the way, this doctor did not give me any hope. He said, in fact, this type of cancer is a type that could likely come back. And on that ride home,
But no direction on how to
Yeah, he didn't tell
prevent
me.
it from coming back.
he didn't tell me, change your diet or do this or that. He just said it could come back. And we drove home together and we made a pact to switch. We had to do something. We felt we just couldn't go on living like we were living. So we decided to adopt a diet and lifestyle change. And the main part of it was to switch to a whole food plant-based diet. And we never looked back. That was 15 years ago. So in our minds, my story is about prevention of disease. I had the cancer. He said he got it all. It could come back, and I didn't want it to come back. So I switched my diet in order to prevent this
Recurrence.
reoccurrence,
And mine is about
reversing.
an incurable disease. And it just amazes me how many people have autoimmune diseases and just, they won't change their diet. They know that it helps, but they just,
To us, it's sort of an insurance policy.
yeah,
It's free.
it's a free insurance policy.
Really? Yeah.
We all can be the fix to this dilemma of health insurance that we have in our country just by
And I
taking
get-
care of yourself.
I get I swear, I get calls from my insurance company. They are so sure that I'm not taking care of myself because I'm not taking any prescription drugs and I'm not running to the doctor every 2 weeks, that they want to send a nurse out to the house to examine me. And they offered me a $25 gift card to Walmart if I do it. I swear.
Well,
They ought to be
have-
thanking me for not costing them anything.
Absolutely. It said we have a system, we don't have a system of healthcare, we have a system of disease care.
Sick care.
And if
sick
you
care.
don't have a disease, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Really,
That is so contradictory.
Yeah.
really.
So,
Go ahead.
it's our feeling that a lot of people think that as you age, and we've spent the last great number of years being an advocate for healthy aging. And people have this impression that as you age, you're going to get sick.
It's expected.
And we're saying, this is bizarre. I have to tell you, in the last 15 years since we switched, we can't even remember when we had a cold, let alone a cancer. So if you are out there thinking about going plant-based, or if you're maybe on the wagon and you're cheating a little too much, or if you're a seasoned veteran of plant-based eating, stay the course. If you're off of it, get back on it, because
It works.
you want to enjoy, especially the third of your life. You don't want to be tied to doctors like this guy. This guy I love being tied to, but any doctor. You don't want to be taking those meds. You don't want to be going for tests. You don't want to be stressing out over the results of these tests. So if you eat clean, that's taking a gigantic step forward to a healthy aging process.
Yeah, we actually have some friends who's basically their whole life is going to doctors.
Doctor to doctor
Yeah.
to doctor.
And people say, well, I can't do that because it's too expensive. Well, let me tell you, we spend a whole lot less on food than people who are eating animal products.
Oh, yeah, especially
Sure.
now.
Oh, yeah, with all the
Shortage of-
prices going up. The only thing I see that's gone up recently is mushrooms. Honestly, I don't know why mushrooms have gone like tripled in price, but nothing else.
But seriously, you hit on an important point. People, oh, it's expensive to eat this way, but it's not. The staple foods where you get your calories and your protein, the rice and beans and greens and fruits, they're cheap. You can buy a 10-pound bag of rice for $4 and a 15-pound bag of lentils for $12 and eat
Exactly.
for a month. So the idea that this is an expensive way to eat, and if you're not putting out money on T-bone steaks and premium cheeses, you got a few bucks left over to buy the organic kale, the organic broccoli. It's really
Exactly.
not expensive to eat this way. And as the medical MC here, let me just, I don't want to take away much of the wonderful time here, but this is not hocus pocus woo-woo California. We ate plants and got healthy. There's some solid science behind this. The fact that Fran stopped eating meat, when someone bites into a chicken breast, what's in that animal muscle? Well, there's obviously muscle fibers, there's blood vessels, but there's nerve tissue throughout that animal's muscles of all types, whether it's a cow or a pig or chicken, whatever it is. And in some people, as they bite into the nerve endings and all this meat, some of that nerve fiber and the synapses where the nerve connects to the muscles gets into the digestive system. Protein fragments of that nerve can leak out if you've been injuring your gut wall and you've got increased permeability. That nerve fiber material and proteins can leak out into your immune system. You make antibodies against the synapses, and now you got antibodies cruising your bloodstream looking for nerve tissues and nerve synapses to lock onto, and they find it in your own tissues. And so this is the mechanism of the autoimmune disease for myasthenia gravis. And when she stopped eating the meat and did other things to heal herself, well, she took away that drive and the antibody levels fell. The prednisone certainly helped. But then she tapered it off, and it did not come back because she's a fundamentally different person, biochemically, immunologically. The food makes such a difference. And the same with Bob. Our kidneys, they're like the oil filter on the car. Everything we eat flows through your kidneys, along with your liver and other tissues. And 50, 60, 70 years of eating foods that stimulate cancer growth, with the meats and the alcohol and the cigarettes, secondhand cigarette smoke, and all of that chemical assault. If you've got the genetic propensity to it, you can trip off some cancer growth in the filter tissue, if you will. And this is what happened to Bob. But he had a good surgeon, did the right procedure. But again, it doesn't have the understanding to tell a man, you keep that diet clean, you just keep plant material and lots of antioxidants and phytonutrients flowing through that tissue. There's no reason that cancer should come back. And so far, knock on for my good, it hasn't. And so there's some good science behind why this has made such a powerful difference. Fran, when's the last time you took a prednisone tablet? How many years has it been?
About 15.
This is remarkable. This is a write-up in a journal, but it shouldn't be. This should be the standard of care, absolutely. So anyway, I want to turn back to them because they've got so much to tell us about how to make this transition, how to stay on it, and mistakes that people make. I'd like to hear their viewing on that, as well as their 10 ideas for living a long, healthy life. So tell us how you made the transition. What's a day of eating like for you? And how can you help people stay on the path?
Well, I can start with that. What I got a lot of benefits out of this because
you get all the good food.
I eat like a king. So we sort of make a big deal about eating.
I want you to know we love to eat, and we eat a lot. People say, well, I can't lose weight on carbs. I can't gain weight on carbs.
Right. She eats like a truck driver. I'm not kidding.
Well, as long as I don't swear like one.
And it's been fantastic for weight control.
Excuse me. Whole carbohydrates that are in the potatoes and the rice, etc. They're a clean burning fuel. You get the energy out of the glucose molecule, and you breathe off carbon dioxide, and you pee out the water, and it's gone. It's a clean burning fuel that doesn't stick to you. That's why they can eat a lot of carbs without gaining weight. Okay.
Yeah. One thing I did want to mention is a few years ago, we were fortunate enough to have a whole food plant-based doctor move to our community, and we started going to him. And the first thing that he had us do on our first visit was read the book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Esselstyn. Now, of course, we've all heard that olive oil is really healthy. You know, it's in the Mediterranean diet, so forth. But the truth is, I was using a lot of olive oil for salads, olive oil for cooking, you know, stir frying, cut it out completely. And I lost 10 pounds in a short period of time without trying. So that's what, because oil is the most condensed form of calories with the least amount of value.
Oh, liquid fat in a bottle, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, exactly.
But one side benefit about going plant-based is that Fran decided to make it a hobby, cooking a hobby, not a chore. It used to be a chore.
Well, because it was no fun. What are you doing? Broiling a piece of chicken?
Yeah, it wasn't that creative. And even if you're like a lazy cook, you can be very creative and it's very easy to do. And so every day we enjoy 3 really terrific meals. So you might want to say what we eat for breakfast.
Yeah,
Well,
what's
first of all, I
a
want to
typical
mention-
eating day? Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Take us
Yeah,
through a
typical eating day.
What do we have this morning?
Normally, our breakfast is the same every morning because we love it. I make a homemade granola out of organic whole oats with raw nuts and seeds
Raisins.
and raisins. And I make enough to maybe for 2 weeks at a time. And so a bowl of that with some fresh blueberries, sliced banana, and sometimes strawberries or raspberries. We call it our red, white, and blue cereal. And that with almond milk, that's our breakfast almost every single morning.
But we do add to that. We add,
I put in 2 heaping teaspoons of ground flax meal for our omega-3s. And I put in, and in the mixture, I have hemp seed and chia seeds and other, it's really healthy. I mean, it's really good. And the only thing you'll be spending more money on is toilet paper, because you will never be constipated again on a whole food plant-based diet.
we do start our day, by the way, the very first thing we do, well, probably the second thing after we get up in the morning, but the second thing we do is that we take a glass, about an 8-ounce glass of room temperature water with the juice of a fresh lemon. And that seems to help flush us out.
I know it sounds crazy to drink something acidic to make you alkaline, but it does.
No, it's true. The citric acid turns into bicarbonate. It actually does turn into an alkaline. Yes. Go ahead.
So for lunch, like today we had we usually have leftovers for lunch.
Lunch is usually leftovers.
But so Fran, we had a falafel.
I made baked falafel.
Yeah, and we had that for a nice dinner. It was sort of an Israeli style dinner. And we used the leftovers today. Fran made
a wrap out of falafel.
Fantastic.
And not baba ganoush, but because I didn't have any eggplant, but I made a hummus with artichokes and chickpeas. Was really good.
Fantastic in a wrap, and
with leftover farro with mushrooms, and
we had some fresh fruit with that, and kiwi. Then. And our dinners Fran likes to do some international cooking just about every day. We've been lucky enough to travel to some 75 countries in our 59 years together. Did I have that right?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, good.
How about that? And because we lived in South Florida for so many years, we really aren't fond of the cold. So we used to spend our winters in Chiang Mai, Thailand.
So we eat a lot of Thai food, but all the Asian foods, for example, very healthy.
If you make them healthy, they can also be very oily. Yeah. I don't make them with oil.
Without a lot of oil, right, exactly.
Yeah.
But just delicious. We do eat a lot of grains. We eat a lot of brown rice and other grains, other whole grains, always whole grains.
Whole wheat pasta.
And we eat
a lot of potatoes.
A lot of potatoes.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many people find that it helps, one, to make the food taste great. To use lots of different spices and international cuisines. That's a good way to keep people interested in the cuisine. And second is you make a big batch cooking lots of food, so you don't have to cook every day if you don't want to. You just
Right.
make a big pot of soup or casserole and eat off that for a few days or freeze.
Yeah,
part of it.
I just wanted to say that one of the greatest things I ever got was an Instant Pot. I
Not
can
the
make a
first time I've
huge
heard
pot
that.
of soup or stew. What I normally do is immediately freeze half of it. So then you got another meal in the freezer.
What do you freeze it in? Small freezer containers or a big pot?
No, I don't do like for one day at a time because I'm not working. This is like I have to take food to work. But I freeze enough so that I have enough for a whole meal for us another day.
Got it.
That's good
Wonderful.
for us.
Yeah.
I will say this, that we do have a website, and on the website,
Oh, yeah.
we have a ton of Fran's recipes. They're all whole food, they're all plant-based,
Oil-free.
they're delicious, and there's quite a variety. A lot of these international foods that we talk about, from Mexican enchiladas to Thai curries or noodle dishes, they're fantastic. It's all free. It's on our website under the Power of Food tab. So it's at www.bobnfran.com. But it's worthwhile going there. Cooking plant-based, it can be fun and easy. And
Yeah,
it's just part of our life now. We
That's
can't
right.
even
That-
think about eating a piece of meat or
It took a while, of course, to lose that craving, but it goes away.
oh yeah.
And then you wonder how you ever did it,
Exactly.
you know?
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
just gonna say, we went plant-based for the diet, for our health. After a while, the part about animal welfare and the environment crept in. I know a lot of young people go vegan for the animals first, you know, and that's fine, however you get
Whatever
there.
gets you there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So you wind up healthy and happy, and that's the most important thing. Speaking of happy, there's some other components to this. We are physical animals. We got to move. So I'll be interested in your viewing on physical activity and how you keep your heart and your spirit happy, especially in these challenging times.
Well, we agree with you, Dr. K, that moving is right behind eating properly. They go hand in hand. So one suggestion we have, and it's featured in our book, is called an hour of power. So we would encourage you to think about taking an hour in the early morning,
if possible.
if possible, and put together your own regimen of stretching, maybe walking for 20 or 30 minutes, try to get it. And it should be brisk walking. I don't mean taking your dog out for a little stroll. I mean, walking, pumping your arms, getting your heart up, a good 20 minutes. You could spend then a little time in meditation in that hour, sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, clearing the clutter of the monkey mind, getting ready for your day. And that kind of routine just energizes you for the rest of the day. You talk about a lifted spirit, that gets you on the right track. And we also talk about understanding and being grateful for what you have. We kind of go through our gratitudes every morning. And then we set some intentions for the day. One of them, I think that's really important, is the idea of taking your mind off yourself and helping someone else. You could volunteer somewhere. You can do random acts of kindness. You can just pay compliments to a person that you meet or someone you talk to on the phone. And that idea alone is self-inspiring. It just energizes you and it lifts your spirits. That kind of thing is an important element to healthy aging. If you take that away, that morning hour of power and these little ideas that I'm throwing out, it doesn't give you the edge to live a long and healthy life. But if you incorporate some of these things, it goes a long way to get you there.
And if you say you haven't got time, get up a little earlier.
Yeah. And we say about movement, we say, get off your butts. That's B-U-T-T-S, you're behind, and get off your butts, B-U-T. But I need to go to work, but I need to dress my children every morning, but I just can't get up at that time. Or I've got the but, forget it. Get rid of that negativity and turn it into some positive habits. It's life-changing and it's fun.
They've actually said that sitting is the new smoking now. We deliver Meals on Wheels to the elderly, the elderly, they're probably younger than us.
They're all younger than us.
In our community. And they just sit in a chair all day long. And
it's sad, and it's very unhealthy. Yeah. So that's a couple of examples of the idea of movement. You can't, like Fran said, sitting is like smoking. It's unhealthy and it's not good for you. So get up and do something. I don't care what it is, but just move your body.
Here.
You want to mention a little bit about Qigong?
Yeah, another thing we do is we practice, this is our sort of our secret weapon. We practice an ancient Chinese healthcare system called Qigong, Q-I-G-O-N-G. We have about 35 free Qigong lessons where you just practice with us every day on our YouTube site. Our YouTube channel is called Young at Any Age. That's the whole idea here. But Qigong has a dual magic to it. It actually relaxes you and de-stresses you.
And energizes.
And at the same time, it lifts your energy level through the roof. So we're both in our 80s. Remember this, both in our 80s. We have unlimited energy. We rarely ever get that tired feeling. Oh, I got to lay down. It's 4:30 or 4 o'clock. We don't go there. But this Qigong, we practice Qigong for 15 minutes a day. It's fantastic. It's very similar to Tai Chi, which most of you have heard of, but Qigong, check it out. It's very good for you.
Before COVID, we used to teach classes here in town every week, and maybe we'd have 40, 50 students. Now we have hundreds of students from all over the world because of the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
it's cool.
One other thing I'd like to interject is the whole idea of lowering your stress levels. So people say, what are 3, 4 things I can do? So I want to age and not get sick. Well, I've felt this, and maybe Dr. K can bear this out. We've always felt that stress somehow is a precursor to disease, to serious disease. And I'd like actually, Doctor, to speak about that. But the answer to that is to develop what we call a mindfulness practice. It's very easy to do. We already mentioned it. And that would be to enable you to live in the present moment. So we've heard that's a catchphrase everybody talks about. I want to live in the moment. But most people are never in the moment because they're always thinking about something that happened in their past, still ticked off about or angry about, that happened maybe a year ago or 10 years ago or yesterday. But that's not fruitful. That is stressful. And the other side of it is thinking about things or worrying about things that are going to happen in the future.
It's a waste of time because about 90% of what you worry about never comes about.
It
happens most of the time. So the idea of being present, whether you're taking a shower or doing, it improves your concentration and it helps you be balanced in your life. And that's what we're looking for here. So mindfulness, the training for mindfulness is meditation. oh, I can't meditate. I tried it. It's boring. I can't do it. We don't give it a try. We have some meditations on our YouTube channel as well, but all it is just sitting on your breath. And that will keep you in the moment. So that's the training for being a mindful person. I think we're talking too much.
No,
I get
this is
excited
wonderful.
talking about this stuff.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful.
And,
It's,
you know,
you-
if
you
the
just-
audience, if you guys can pick up one tip or two tips here and there, start with food and then work a little harder after that.
By the way, Bob didn't mention that a couple of years after his surgery, the doctor went plant-based.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
Some
You-
people
you-
are just slow learners.
You never know who hears. Your example is so powerful. It's what people notice what we do and what everyone
Dr.
does.
Dr. K, we write about the stress being in
Oh, absolutely. When people are under stress, your adrenal glands, the adrenal cortex, is putting out hormones like cortisol. And a little cortisol is okay, but a lot of cortisol really suppresses the immune system and it suppresses healing. We find people who are on prednisone, like Fran was for so long, their wounds don't heal as well. They're more prone to infections. Prednisone is, you don't want to walk around in a high cortisol state week after week, month after month, but that's exactly what people who put themselves under stress actually do. And the other adrenal hormones and the sympathetic nervous system, the adrenaline, and the impulses coming down from your brain, oh, they make the blood vessels clamp down, they make the heart beat stronger, and that's great if you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger, but to stay in that state the month after month, that's a great recipe for artery disease and congestive heart failure and stroke. There's no question we are not meant to live in a state of stress. It's a temporary aid to help us escape from physical danger, but modern life has put us, allows us to be in these states for way too long. And it's hard on the machinery. You know, you don't want to drive from New York to Seattle in passing gear. It's going to tear your engine apart, and that's kind of what the stress state does. So you're absolutely right. I commend you on your understanding of the physiology there. So so as we're coming down the home stretch here, I'd like to I know you've got 10 guides for living a happy life. Share us 3 of those. And again, I want to remind everybody that all this is in their book, 101 Ways to Be Young at Any Age, as well as on their wonderful website that Bob and Fran have called bobandfran.com. So please take advantage of these wonderful resources. Why don't you leave us with 3 tips that especially young people watching this video could really benefit from your experience.
Well, one thing we sort of recommend is to say yes to life. It's important, I think, to be open to new ideas, to new people, to new things. You know, it's like we always think of a friend of ours that we once invited to go to an Indian restaurant that we knew was healthy Indian food. Oh, I can't go to an Indian restaurant. No, I wouldn't like it. Well, have you ever tried Indian food? Well, no, I haven't tried. So if a situation comes up where you can try something different or do something different or meet a different type of personality with maybe different views, do it. Say yes every time. It won't go wrong.
Excellent.
Another thing is that I think it's important to go with the flow of life. Life, we've been on this planet for more than 80 years. And as all of us know, that life has its good times and its not so good times. But the beautiful part of life is that all of these things are impermanent. They don't last. Good times don't last, either do the bad times. So you've got to go with the flow. We taught at the Buddhist University in Chiang Mai, Thailand for about 6 years. And we always taught the monks. The monks were Theravada Buddhist monks, and these guys were from all over Southeast Asia, and we taught them a phrase called "just go with the flow." Well, most Americans have heard that, but to them it was new, and they understood what we were saying. And that's sort of putting their Buddhist practice into everyday, go with the flow of life, accept what's going on, and handle things in the best possible way. But don't resist things, just go with it.
The expression is what you resist will persist.
Yeah, so don't fight it too much. And I think for adults and for kids, we advise you to live your best possible life. Do things that make you happy. And we use a phrase, I wrote it down here, do what you love
And love what you
and
do.
love what you do. And we've taught that to our kids and our grandkids. And that would be a little piece of advice that I'd ask you all to think about.
Beautiful. That's just beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, that's exactly how I describe the two of you. And this, you're beautiful people, and this is beautiful aging. This is how it's supposed to be. The human being turns into these lovely creatures, as you're seeing ahead, right in front of our eyes on the screen. And this is all our birthrights. We all each have a right to conclude our lives in this wonderful, wonderful state. So we've had two masters show us how to do that today. And I am so grateful for Bob and Fran for sharing their experience, their wisdom, and just who they are. And again, their example is the best teacher of all. So check out you can get your wonderful book, 100 Ways to Be Happy at Any Age. You can get that off your website as well. They can purchase your book. Definitely, there's all these free goodies on their website. And you're going to be showing up on the internet from various places. Do you have a regular podcast, by the way, or?
Well, we don't do a podcast, but we have a ton of YouTube videos on our YouTube channel.
Oh, well,
they're all free and they're all quite good.
That's great. So check out their YouTube channel. Bob and Fran German, thank you so much for your time and for your expertise and sharing your heart.
We appreciate you, Dr. K. Thanks for having us. Appreciate all the viewers today as well.
Okay, everybody. Be sure and check out the website, and you'll and I'll be putting the relevant information down below to check out their book title, etc. Take care. Stay well. Stay happy. Bye-bye.
Namaste.
Namaste. Hi, everyone. Dr. Michael Klaper here, announcing our new format for our Q&A with Dr. K. Annie Hagen will be asking me one question that's been sent in by our viewers. So if you want to see if your question is getting answered, do join us for our Q&A with Dr. K right here. Hope to see you then.